Hey awesome ones, Heather here.
And Bill.
And today Bill is on the hot seat. I'm going to be interviewing him and it all starts in just a few seconds. So a lot of you know Bill and you know him from the YouTube videos, but what you probably don't know is he's quite the cameraman. He does all of the editing, and now you're doing sound for podcasts. And although we've just started that recently, it didn't really start recently for you, did it?
No, it all began in a 50,000 watt radio station. What was that show, Mary?
WKRP.
No, Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh, okay.
Remember?
All right. Yeah. I do remember that. Hey, if you remember that, put it in the comments. But anyway, go ahead.
No, it did start, how many decades ago? I went to college and I wanted to take radio and television broadcasting. And so I went for, I think it was only a 2-3 year course. And, I thought I'd be doing all these great things. And I can remember, did you want me to tell you a couple of
Sure. Tell us some stories. That's the whole thing. We want to hear some backstories about Bill and your history. And
well, I'll start off with one that wasn't so great. Remember back in the 80s, everything was bigger. I mean, as far as the fashion goes, it was bigger hair, bigger clothes, shoulder pads. Yeah. Well, the same went for technology. And I remember myself and a couple buddies, we went on an ENG shoot, electronic news gathering. Wow. And we were driving from our college, and it was about a 2.5-3 hour drive to where we were going. We're all excited. We think we're, king of the world. And we get there, and the equipment doesn't work. Hello.
Oh, man, that would have been so frustrating.
First of all, always check your equipment before you go anywhere. And I've learned that with you, Heather.
Has he ever? I do a whole video, and it's like, oh, I forgot to put the sound on. But that only happened, I think, once.
Oh, absolutely. Just, well, maybe not once. But
what about, it's okay. So what about the time you really thought that this was going to be it? You were going to be a news broadcaster, and I think you worked at your college. And were you a radio announcer or something?
Yeah, they had a little radio station. It was just a small community college, but they still had a little radio station in there. And I became the news director in that radio station. And, I just loved it. It just, wow, what a world radio was. Mm-hmm. And, I remember also another big thrill at that time was going to a major TV station in the city. And this is a big time station. And I was just volunteering, you hang around the newsroom. Hey, kid, go get me some coffee, or here, bring this down to the exactly.
Guy, yeah.
Bring it down to the first floor. But then one day, so I'm just sitting around, and the director, he says, can you do camera? And I'm like, what? He says, follow me.
You better make sure that the equipment works, right? Anyway, go ahead.
So I go down, and to my surprise, we go down right into the studio, and the 6 o'clock or 10 o'clock news was, I think, 15 minutes away. Wow. And he says, you're going to do camera 3.
Were you sweating bullets just thinking about that?
I was thinking of another expression, but...
Okay.
No, but it was a big thrill. I mean, I was scared, nervous, I guess is a better word. And they put me on camera 3, and it was a graphics camera. So I wasn't actually focusing in on the talking heads. However, right beside the talking head was the graphic of the story they were talking about, wow, which was on my camera. So, I mean, that was a great time. And
what about technology, though? Like, when you see the technology, and I mean, a lot of times we're shooting videos with an iPhone or with our cell phones. How has it changed from those days? Like, didn't you have to splice, like, tapes together and all that sort of thing?
Oh, yeah. It was two things about to answer your question. Mm-hmm. One is the access. Now, it's, as Heather mentioned about the iPhones, the access.
And other phones too.
Oh, anything, yeah. You know, what's the other one? Androids,
Yeah.
and you name it. But the access, it's so easy now. You don't need the big DSLRs or the camcorders or the big ENG production cameras. You can do it with your phone. And now, mind you, you know, the quality varies, but you could be anywhere and make a documentary or a film or an interview.
The other thing that you mentioned to me, because we were watching a documentary the other day, and Bill says, "Oh, I used to splice the editing of all the film like that." And did they actually take a razor blade and just?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Like I couldn't even imagine you getting all my film and just splicing it with a razor blade.
Well, to answer your question with part two of what I was going to say is. The other thing besides the ease of access is the size of the equipment back in the day was huge. Like I mentioned earlier, we brought this big, huge ENG camera and the big videotapes and about the splicing the tape together. Yeah, you'd run this big audio tape through and then and you get it right to the spot. You take the blade, you cut it, and this kind of tape goes over it, and then.
So that's how they did movies, and oh my gosh, like I couldn't even imagine, because I know you'll spend hours and hours. He'll spend hours on a 20-minute video, and I mean, and then there's also the, you know, it's the sound right, and not just the video itself. Well, that's amazing. But your first real job that they lined up for you, it was in a very small town, population probably 150. And what happened with that?
Well, first of all, nobody lined it up. That's part of the problem with this type of industry. I mean, you really had to pay your dues.
Oh, okay.
You had to pay your dues.
A lot of volunteering.
In most cases.
Sounds like, yeah.
Yeah, and I had an opportunity. I sent out demo tapes all over the place.
Aww.
And, you know,
I'm hearing some of this for the first time. Wait, go ahead.
And, of course, one of my demo tapes went out to this northern town, way up there. And I think the winter lasted 10 months.
Oh, jeez.
And, you know, just the thought of leaving, like, the big city and all your friends and your lifestyle, you know what? It's a big commitment, and you really got to want it.
Yeah.
And now it's all come full circle.
Well, so what happened back then is, let's just sort of say a little bit more of the history. You ended up getting a cushy job, a secure job, something that, you know, you knew you'd get a paycheck at the end of the week. You knew that you could still be in the city. And yeah, what we can do is we can kind of fast forward to maybe just a few years ago, when you and I were talking about Awesome Over 50. It was just a conversation. And what you did was you said, well, you know what? I think I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And what kind of feelings, like, did you have on the inside when you decided, okay, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and you actually quit the cushy job, the security, and walked into it?
Well, first word that comes to mind, scary.
Yeah.
Second word that comes to mind, exciting. Because now I was doing something that I really deep down wanted to do, you know, and it just felt good.
Well, can I just, when you are 18, you have these dreams, right? Or when you're a young person, you have these dreams. And there's something don't you think it's something that's kind of inside of you? And then it's like, oh, well, you know, that was a nice little dream, but it was still always inside of you, wasn't it, Bill?
I think it is. I think you're born with it. Sometimes you just...
It's a gift, maybe.
Yeah, I guess a gift is one word. I think it's unique to every person. Some people are just natural at doing certain things, and you know, you can't always do that right away. And what's the expression? Life gets in the way.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, hey.
You're busy doing other things, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's the costs, you know, I mean, the expense of life. You've got to have a job. You want to, in a lot of cases, support a family.
But what about now? How do you feel about what you're doing now?
Well, now I love it. It's just, wow, it's what I've always wanted to do.
Would you suggest to people that are maybe later in life to pick up and dust off some of those dreams or goals that they had, when they were younger, especially if they still feel it inside?
Yes, absolutely. And it's not always, let's say, it's not always a job or something you want to do. Maybe it's, you want to volunteer somewhere. Maybe you want to do your craft, arts and crafts, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I think so.
It's a matter of, finding what your real passion is. And if it's a passion and a purpose, it really...
there's no
I don't
question.
know. It's like, I know it's kind of people are like rolling their eyes when you hear it, but when you really find what you want, you never work another day in your life.
True.
You know, and you're not also saying, okay, I can't wait till the weekend, or I can't wait until, I actually can't wait till Monday. And I know that sounds really weird, but, I enjoy, we work actually sometimes 7 days a week, but Monday is just another day, and I can't wait. I'm jumping out of bed. I'm really enjoying it. Which brings me to my next question. What is it like? I'm throwing this one in. What is it like to work with your beautiful wife? It wasn't on his cue cards. And a business partner, and would you suggest it to anybody?
I think you gotta have the right partner, the right wife or husband. They have to be supportive.
And it could be a child too sometimes.
Yeah, it could be somebody in your family. Maybe, like you said, your daughter, your son, or some other relative. But yeah, it's, to answer your question, it's great because...
Good answer.
No, it's just fun working together and coming up with these ideas and concepts that we do for all the platforms.
Yeah. And we don't always agree on things. I mean, we're not the perfect couple by any means, but like today, we actually did a beauty video before we did this right now, and Bill forgot to turn the sound on. Remember, you were using a new...
we were hooking up a new, I just bought it, new lavalier mic, and you mean you got to plug it in?
Yeah. I did the whole video, and Bill says... but fortunately the camera had a mic, and so
had to back up to that.
That worked out. But it's not always really smooth sailing. But all in all, we have a lot of fun together. Even when we're working, we're having and we're exciting. We're discovering this, and what about this, and we're learning about that. And hey, Bill, I just saw this great video, and it's going to show you how to use your new Canon SLR or whatever. And we just kind of there's a lot of spark after 21 years together, still going on, because we're still having a lot of fun and learning together. So and
that's the key, I think, is learning together, learning how to use the equipment.
Brand new equipment today.
Learning, and maybe in Heather's case, how to be in front of the camera and getting better at that. It's fun. It's what I like. I like growing with our community. As we've been doing this for a couple of years on all the platforms, from the Instagram, the Facebook, YouTube
is the big one, but now
podcasts.
We're just doing these podcasts, and we love doing podcasts because a lot of people are so busy that they're on a train or they're in their car, and now you can actually just say to your phone, like we have Siri, but hey Siri, play Awesome Over 50 podcasts, and it just, I think that's the saying. We'll have to check that out, but it's cool.
I'm surprised the phone didn't go off in the background.
Yeah, usually whenever I say anything like that, it's like, yes, may I help you? But so yes, the people out there, that's another thing that we do. We have a lot of fun with this. I'll read the comments. I'm answering the comments. I think, Bill, you got to hear this one. And a lot of them, when they're mentioning the three of us, because on the videos we have our little dog too, and it's just, it's so heartwarming. I mean, there's the other part of it, the attitude of gratitude that you have. And
I think that's what keeps me going anyways, is hearing these comments, reading these comments. I mean, if nobody was really interested, no matter how much fun this is for us to do, I don't think I'd want to do it.
You know what? When we started, we had one person interested. And I think that's the key for people starting off in anything. If you have one, if you have one person, you got an audience, and you don't really give up. You just keep on going, and one turns into 3 and 4, and right now on YouTube we're at 60,000 plus. It's unbelievable.
Oh, it is.
So what are some of the things that you would like to kind of share with people in the, with the future, with Awesome Over 50, maybe talking about discoveries or other things like that?
Discoveries, do you mean personal now, or what we have planned?
What we have planned for the podcasts, the YouTubes and all that. What do we want to give to the people out there? What do you see on the horizon?
I want to show the world through our eyes, through the camera's lens, through the microphone, experiencing these places, meeting people, finding out about people.
What about things like you discovered classical music and different kinds of wines and...
Yeah, now to the personal side, and I know I've probably mentioned this before, the food. Food. I'm always thinking of food. The classical music. I think I was just over 50, and I discovered this music one night. We were listening, and it was on in the background.
Baroque music.
It was one of those TV channels where you could flip to just music. And I said to Heather, I really like that. What is it? And as she said, it was Baroque music. And I thought, wow. And that led to classical music.
Yeah.
The classical, I'm a big Mozart fan. I can't get enough Mozart.
And also, what we're going to be talking about, and in some cases we've already talked on YouTube about going to the ballet. And these are things that you would never be interested in before. Going to the ballet, going to the symphony. We just went and saw Jay Leno, in a comedy act. And just kind of sharing. I'm doing the interview for you. Sorry about that. This is my thing.
It's hard to old habits.
I'm just usually the spokesperson. So... But anything else that you want to share with people?
The future. I'm just excited about what Heather and I have planned coming up in the future on all the platforms. We've just started the podcasts, and as Heather mentioned, the reason why we started that is because people don't always have access to the videos. Maybe you're driving, so it's good to hear these stories audibly.
Well, there's so much media now. I mean, that's another way that technology has changed is that there's sight and sound and whatever you want to choose for your media, whether it's on your phone or on your laptop or on your television set even, the smart devices, they give you all of those. So I guess we should maybe wrap it up a little bit now. Well, thank you so much for sharing all those stories, and we really appreciate it. And I hope you appreciated it out there too, because he was telling some stories I didn't even know. But I think it's time for somebody special to join us right now. How about the cuteness factor?
I think so.
So here he is, our little Hurricane. Hey, Hurricane, how are you?
Fella.
And when Hurricane is here, he's here to remind us that we should tell you about some of the things that are coming up. And one of the things that we just did with this interview was we also made a podcast. So we're going to put on the screen there how you can find our new podcast. We're really excited about this.
Very excited, yeah.
And they're going to be on iTunes and Google Play and all kinds of things, correct?
Yeah, Spotify, most of the platforms. You just have to look for it.
I mean, this is the world now, and it's so exciting for us to get our message out there that embrace the next 40 years, enjoy the next chapters. So, and then some other things that we have coming up on Tuesday with the lifestyle videos, we are going to Niagara Falls and also Niagara-on-the-Lake, and we're going to do some how to pack videos because Bill's going to try to just carry on a a trip to Europe. Yeah. And guess what I'm going to try to do?
The same.
I hope you have a lot more room in yours, for some of my stuff. But we're going to Paris. We're going to London. We want to talk about those. And then for the beauty and the fashion videos, we've got some more reviews of makeup coming up. I still have that waterproof makeup video coming on stream for you. And of course, Bill's favorite subject coming up, shapewear and undergarments for women, for mature women, and you can't wait to film that. It's like
I think
too much information.
I think one day we're going to have to do one on pasta and wine.
Exactly. Well, that'll be easy to do. Yes, that's one of your enjoyments. But anyway, until next time, folks, you know what? Thank you, Bill, for this amazing interview.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you all for mentioning Bill. A lot of you guys in your comments, you're saying how you appreciate you want to see more of Bill. You can't wait for Bill's interviews. So there you have it, and I know he really appreciates that too. So in the meantime, we're so glad you're here. Whatever platform you enjoy, or maybe you enjoy all of them, we just want you to be here. We just love you guys, and remember to keep it awesome.
Keep it awesome.